I just received my copy of Patrick Lencioni's The Motive. If you have 4 hours to spare, get yourself a copy, grab a pencil, and sit down and start learning. Within minutes, you'll realize why Patrick's simple storytelling is so effective and anything but simplistic. The book starts with the narration of a CEO's awakening as he looks into the mirror held up by a rival CEO during their one-day meeting and the events that ensue in the following weeks. Throughout the story, we learn why some leaders succeed while others fail horribly. It's all about their motive. But the takeaway from Pat's books are in the lessons that he shares in the last section of the book. Here he explores in detail how some leaders are motivated by ego and the apparent rewards that come with position and role, while others brave the sometimes tedious and unpleasant responsibilities of leading and coaching others, addressing the essential behavioural changes required to succeed as a team, and learning to effectively delegate rather than abdicate. Here's where Pat's expertise really shines through. It's in the reflections and the call to actions that he shares. Successful leaders need to develop their leadership team. They need to lead by example and manage individuals and ensure that subordinates are also effectively managing the people that report to them. They need to brave the difficult and uncomfortable conversations with their team. They need to lead engaging and effective meetings that don't require team members to report in like a roll call, but actually enable them to get involved in important decision making. And successful leaders need to communicate constantly and repetitively to employees with a consistent message. Why is this message so important today? Because we are all experiencing a cleansing of sorts. We know that there's been a slowdown, there's been a crisis, but business and mergers and acquisitions still took place and dividends are still paid out to executives and shareholders. Other businesses took a beating while some shut down temporarily and others closed their doors forever. What can we learn from this crisis? We need to rebuild. Countries, governments, organizations, communities, families, and individuals alike are all experiencing a reset, a time of reflection and renewal. And as we come out of this crisis, we need to take away some key learning to build a better new normal. If the behaviors we saw during the crisis persist, if people still buy and hoard supplies and deprive others during their time of need, if businesses continue to manipulate the price of goods and services at the expense of the consumer who has little to spare, if the insecure, egotistical executive still feels the need to manage others top down and appease their own selfish interests rather than the greater good of the organization, we'll not only revert to our old sunken ways, but we'll find ourselves dealing with a worse kind of virus, one that spreads through greed, ignorance, and malice. Today, this message is important because we need to reassess our own motive by braving the sometimes tedious and difficult responsibilities that come with our own behavior. Each one of us needs to lead to serve others and strive to bring about a positive future for all of us. We are all leaders in one way or another, whether we're in government, leading a business with one employee, or a multinational corporation with thousands of staff, or whether we're the head of a household. We all need to set a good example for young people to help them understand what leadership looks like. As Pat explains in The Motive, if we can restore the collective that leadership is meant to be a joyfully difficult and selfless responsibility, we will see companies become more successful, employees more engaged and fulfilled, and society more optimistic and hopeful. Perhaps people will stop using the term servant leadership altogether because everyone will understand that it is the only valid kind. And that is certainly worth doing.